Hey everyone, today we're doing a demo of a new track and trace tools feature that I'm very excited about, which is CSV Autofill. This lets you fill any metric form from a CSV. It's handy for when you want to perform lots of repetitive metric actions in bulk. It also lets you save and export metric forms that you've already filled out. And this is useful for when you've filled out a form and don't want to lose everything you've typed in, but you're not ready to submit to metric yet. So let's get into it. There's a couple things to remember. You have to use the special file format, T3 CSV, and the autofill isn't submitting anything. It's only filling out the fields. So you're still responsible for making sure that what's been filled is correct and then submit to metric. So with that, let's get into it. So at the top of every metric form, you'll see that there are new buttons. We've got download empty template, which is going to give you a blank T3 CSV. You've got export form data, which is going to dump whatever you've typed into the form already. And you've got autofill T3 CSV, which is where you're going to give your autofill T3 CSV file for it to be put into the form. So let's download an empty template to see what it gives us. So let's go ahead and pop this open. Something to keep in mind is that the top 3 rows need to be left alone. So this is how the autofill is actually working. So the top 2 are identifying where in the form the information should go. So definitely leave those alone. And the next are the column titles. So if we zoom in a little bit, these are where you're going to type in all the fields that you want to go in. So this is the add strain template. So strain name, strain testing status, so on and so forth. You'll also notice that there's a lot of extra fields here. So these are taken from, in this case, the checkboxes. And the reason that appears is that the tool is grabbing every form field it can, and it's going to grab some extra ones. So fortunately, with autofill, everything is optional. So if when you upload a T3 CSV and a cell is left blank, it's just going to skip that field. It's not going to fill anything in there. So you can fill in as many fields or as few fields as you want, and it's just going to fill what's there. One other thing to keep in mind is that there's no validation. So whatever you type in is what's going into the form, and it needs to be the right format. So if it's a date, it needs to be formatted correctly. If you're typing in like a package tag, it has to be the full tag, things like that. So the tool will do its best to fill, but it needs to exactly match what metric is expecting, or it's just going to get ignored. So let's go ahead and close this out. So the best way to see what data should go in the fields is if we actually start by dumping it. So let's fill out this form with some test information. So let's go test strain 1. Let's do third party, and then we'll say 12. Oops. We'll do 44, and then we'll say 25% indica. Okay, so we filled out these values in the form. Let's go ahead and export the form data, see what we get. Okay, so we can see that all the values we just typed in are represented here in this 4th row. So we've successfully exported the whole form. You can see it also grabs some values from the checkboxes. Again, you can just ignore those. So let's say we wanted to create 20 strains with basically the same information. So if we just pull this down here, we've got 21 strains. And now if we save this, let's start with the blank form. Now we can autofill the 20 strains that are in our file. So if we pick the file that we just created, we can see that all 20 have been autofilled with the information that's in the form. And that's it.